Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. One day, I was, as usual, transferring the data from the camera to the computer. It's a routine practice. But it so happened that the camera was not showing to be recognized in the computer. And I was so frustrated. I don't know what happened. So the best thing, whenever you are disturbed, I go to sleep. So I slept an hour or two. When I got up and again I started. And then I came to know I had not switched on the computer. How will the data into the computer? Exactly the same way. The problems of our life are not anywhere else. They are because we do not know the working of our life. See, therefore here in this Tattvabodha, we are given two types of information. One type of information is about what is that which is worthy of rejection. Second is what is that which is worthy of acceptance. See? Knowledge has these two aspects. One, know to reject. Second, know to adapt. So our personality consists of what? When I say I, what exactly do I mean by this word I? Sometimes I say I am young, so I refers to body. When sometimes I say I am hungry, I refers to the prana. When I say I am unhappy, I refers to the mind. So how many individuals are inside? Out of so many, who am I? See? And it is for this purpose, clear and correct understanding is necessary. And from this point of view, we have seen in earlier two lectures, what is the gross body, what is the subtle body, and how these bodies function. And after knowing their functioning, how do we apply this functional knowledge in our day-to-day life? Up to here, we have seen. Then we came to the third body called as the Karana Sharira, the causal body. Karana Shariram came. What is the Karana Sharira? Karana Sharira was Anirvajya Anadi Avidya Rupam Sharira Dvayasya Karana Matram Sat Swarupa Jnanam Nirvikalpa Sarupam Yadastati Tat Karana Shariram. What is the causal body? That which is the cause of the other two bodies is called as causal body. And what is the nature of this causal body? Anadi Avidya Rupam. Be very attentive. Since how long the mirror is reflecting whatever comes in front of the mirror? Anadi. It has no beginning. Wherever mirror is, reflection is natural. See, it has no beginning, beginningless. In the same manner, since how long we do not know our essential nature, we don't know. See? Do you know Gujarati? No. Since how long you don't know Gujarati? When I don't know Gujarati, how will I know since how long I don't know Gujarati? So, ignorance has no beginning. And for this ignorance to be beginningless, there is no cause. See, one teacher was dictating something to the children and moving in between. And she told something and one student was writing. And he has written wrong. So the teacher got angry. Who taught you wrong spelling? Don't you know? So he looked at the teacher, Madam, mistakes are not taught, they happen. They are never taught. Okay, tell me, how do you spell crocodile? So the student said, Krokodil. This is not the spelling of crocodile. No, I know this is not the spelling, but you ask me how do I spell? I spell like this. Therefore, Anadi Avidya, this non-recognition has no beginning. Anadi Avidya Rupam, then Sharira Dvesya Karana Matram. That which is the cause of the two bodies, causal body and the subtle body and the gross body. And Sat Swarupa Ajnanam. See friends, be very attentive. What is our essential nature that we do not know completely? We know, but not fully. See? Because ignorance does not mean absence of knowledge. This is the fundamental mistake many students do. Knowledge can never be absent. There can be incompleteness in the knowledge. Therefore, ignorance and I stands for the incompleteness. In Sanskrit, if you write Ajnanam, that A stands for not absence, but Apurnata. Apurna Jnanam, Ajnanam. So when we see something, there is something, so it is a knowledge. But what is that, we don't know. So there is incompleteness in the knowledge. And because of this incompleteness, there is a projection. See, in the same manner, we all know that I am. But there is incompleteness in the knowledge. Who am I? And because of this incompleteness in the knowledge, we imagine we are incomplete. Therefore, to attain completeness, we have desires, subtle body is born. And because of the pressure of the desire, we get into activities, the gross body is born. Therefore, avidya kama karma, the incomplete knowledge is the causal body, desire is the subtle body, and karma is the gross body. These three things together is called as the knot of the heart, Hridaya Granthi. So, Anirvajya Anadi Avidya Rupam Sharira Dvesya Karana Matram Sat Swarupa Ajnanam Nirvikalpaka Rupam. And in this experience of the deep sleep, where the causal body is fully manifest, there is no vikalpa. Vikalpa means option. See? In every knowledge in the world, there is option. One Sardarji was asked by Amitabh Bachchan the last question. The question is, this is a 5 crore question. Okay? Yes. Everybody was tense. What is your father's name? And Sardarji started laughing. So Amitabh Bachchan said, why are you laughing? Option to बताए नहीं. And then there are options. See friends. Nirvikalpaka Rupam. In deep sleep, there is no option. Whether something is or something is not. Whether I am a man or woman. Whether I am rich or poor. There is no optional experience. Therefore, Nirvikalpaka Rupam and Yadasti Tat Karana Shariram. This is what is called as the causal body. You know what happens? Problem with us is, the body, English word when we use, we don't get the import of the word. But when we say the word Shariram, Sharira means that which can be disintegrated. That which is subject to disintegration. And what is disintegrated? That which is made out of the parts. So when the parts are separated, the car disappears. In the same manner, when we take this word Sharira as the body, only the shape comes in our mind. The gross body, subtle body, and what is the causal body? I am not able to understand. You cannot understand. See? Therefore, these are the three bodies. After this was told, then the teacher takes the next step. Avasthatrayam kim. What are the three experiences? Because Avasthatraya Sakshi San. We were told what is Atma? Atma is the one which is the witness of the three experiences that we go through. Now here, before we go further, I'll give some basic information. Many times we hear three planes of consciousness. It is wrong. The experience which is logic dominant and based on the intellect is called as waking experience. The experience which is mind dominant is called as dream experience. The experience which is ahankar dominant, it is called as the deep sleep experience. And the experience which is chitta dominant, it is called as a samadhi experience. So consciousness has no four states of experience. It is the mind which has. See, man doesn't suffer, it is the husband who suffers. See friends, in the same manner, these three avasthatraya, these three planes of experience, which are those? So we are told, Jagra, Sapna, Sushupti, Avastha. They are the waking, dream and the deep sleep. So, the next question comes, then what is the waking state? The waking state is explained. Srotradi jnanendriyaihi shabdadi vishayescha jnayate iti yasa jagrata avastha sthula sharira bhimani atma vishwa uchyate. That experience where the experiences are gathered through the sense organs and the objects are recognized through the sense organs, that experience is called as the waking experience. In waking experience, the object, the means of the knowledge of the object and the experiencer, these are three distinct entities. What is called a triputi? The object of knowledge, the knowledge of the object and the knower of the knowledge of the object. That experience where this triputi happens, that experience is called as the Jagrata Avastha, the waking state. And in this experience, Sthula Sharira Bhimani Atma Vishwa Uchyate. Vishwa is waker. The self identified with the gross body is called as Vishwa or the waker, and this waker is a common noun. It is not a proper noun. It is here many students go wrong on the path of meditation. They do meditation. Meditation is never done. See, we don't do waking. Do we do waking? No. We are in the waking and then do the things. We don't do dreaming. We are in the dream state and then go through good and bad experiences. We don't do deep sleeping. Deep sleeping is there, then we start snoring. Try to snore when you are awake, you cannot. In the same manner, we have to live in meditation and then do the business of life. Instead of this, we struggle. Chalo, meditation kare. And then we sit quiet, close your eyes, switch off the lights and go to sleep. Meditation. And it is nothing but silent suffering in a collective manner. And everybody is eagerly waiting when the ghanti goes. I am not just telling out of a hat. I went to one of these international yoga conferences in some other country. When I went there, one person is addressed as Jagat Guru. Anybody can call anybody a Jagat Guru. Jagat Guru. And he is a Westerner. And then all the time remaining in seriousness. But ridiculous. And then we went to see one particular place. And he said, now everybody sit down. We sat down. Then I'll ring the bell. Like the ghanti before the God, he has got one bell in his pocket always. Sit down. I'll ring the bell. According to your status, Yama, Niyama, Asan, Pranayam, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. According to your status. Meditation, begin. And then everybody is ready. Dusri ghanti kar start. When will the second bell ring? See? And they are suffering silently. And suppose somebody goes deep within, suddenly and uto, cartoons of meditation. See friends, therefore these four conditions, Jagna, Sapna, Sushupti, Samadhi, they don't belong to consciousness. They belong to the mind. Waking experience is logic dominant. Why, how, when, where. The dream experience is chaotic experience. Okay. Last time I told you, one person asked me, Swamiji, do you dream? I said, of course I dream. Then what is your dream? My dream is, I am giving lecture and people are listening. Because this particular impression is so deep. See, yesterday or today probably, afternoon after the lunch I sleep for half an hour, 1 hour. And in that dream, I tell you, I was chanting bhajan. And the bhajan was Garuda Vahana Narayana Nandi Vahana Sadashiva. Sleep going on and bhajan continued. Then I got up, where did Garuda has gone? There is no logic. There is no reason. That is the dream state. In deep sleep, ahankar. Ahankar is not ego. Ahankar is a principle, tattva, because of which the 5 elements remain integrated as one whole. Otherwise, our body is holy. What is that which is keeping our 5 elements together? They are not disintegrated. This ahankar is something like the magnetic power in a magnet. This magnetic power holds on to all the files of iron which are around that magnet. So ahankar is not the ego. Many people mistake this wrong translation. So in the deep sleep, it is the ahankar which is keeping the body going. See? Except the whale, we all can breathe without remembering. Imagine, you have to remember to breathe. There will be no problem of old age. मैं भूल गया, खल्लास. But in case of the whale, they have to remember. Therefore, every time they turn, and after 4 minutes they breathe and again become one. So, in the deep sleep, ahankar is the factor which is predominant. Therefore, in deep sleep, our nail grow, our hair grow, etc. And in case of the samadhi, it is the chitta. Chitta is a memory bank. All our memories are intact. And therefore, you may sit for half an hour, 1 hour, 10 years for in samadhi. Your ignorance will not be destroyed. Your chitta, bank of memory, impressions will be maintained. See friends. Therefore, these 4 states, Tattvabodha, Sapna, Sushupti, Samadhi, they do not belong to consciousness. If we have the wrong notion, correct. So, this is the Jagrata Avastha, Sthula Sharira Vimani Atma Vishwa Uchate. When the self is identified with the gross body, the waker is called as Vishwa. Now see, after this Vishwa happens, then only the secondary eyes are born. After I am identified with the body, then only I become husband, wife, brother, sister, mother, father, the mother-in-law, the father-in-law. All these offshoots come out only after I am identified with the body. Be very attentive. And who is miserable? See, these offshoots are miserable. And they are not real. They are dependent on the body identification. See? The other day here only it happened. Some Gujarati house I went. After food, they say, Swamiji, please bless our grandmother, she is not well. So I went to their room. And she was in coma. And all the tubes were there. So the nurse was there. So I talked to the nurse. I said, hey, do you get your daily payment properly? Yes. I said, very good. Pray to the Lord. Let her continue little more. You get your salary. Then those owners came. The moment they came, I had to do drama. So I took the hand of that dilapidated tomatoes lady. Like tomatoes lady. Put her hand on my hand and my other hand on that. And then I kissed my hand. So dead one. And then drama. Who can challenge what I am saying? I said nothing. Silent prayer. And afterwards silent. After 2 days, 3 days, that man came. Swami, do you remember you came to our house? I said, no, I forget the moment I leave the house. Don't ask me that. No, you came to our place, our Dadima was not well. Can you bless her? Now the question came, what was my blessing? If she survives, he will kill me. And if she dies because of my blessing, don't come for my blessing. I kill the people. Then he said, we were not seeing her torture. Friends, a person who is in comatose, he never suffers. Those who are alive, they suffer because they have to pay. Only after body identification, other personalities are born. See, friends. And therefore, these 4 conditions belong to the Antakaran Chatushtay and not to the consciousness. Now, what is the dream? Swapnavastha keti chet jagratavasthayam yad drishtam yad shrutam tad janita vasanaya nidra sameyaha prapancha pratiyate sa swapnavastha sukshma sharirabhimani atma taijasa iti uchyate. Now, what is the swapnavastha? Swapnavastha is jagratavasthayam, during the waking experience, yad drishtam shrutam tad janita vasanaya. When we are interacting very strongly in the waking state, the strong interactions create deep impressions on our mind. And if you do not interact strongly, like what? Like you listen to satsang. Time pass then you will never get the dream of satsang. And when you do something very intensely, that intense activity creates impressions on the mind. And then those impressions become the object of knowledge. No more the object. Impressions become the object of knowledge. And when the self becomes identified with these impressions on the mind, then he is called as the dreamer or the Taijasa, technical word. Now be attentive. So it is the self with the conditioning of the gross body is called as waker or the Vishwa. It is the self with the conditioning of the mind is called as the dreamer. So waker, dreamer, etc., they are the conditioned expressions of the absolute. Absolute is neither the waker nor the dreamer. It is for this purpose that we have to learn. And once we recognize this principle, then we go through all the experiences. When I know I am basically a man, and then father, brother, husband, these are only conditioned expressions of man. Then what will I do? I play my role perfectly well and do not carry the load of all the conditionings on my head. That is all spiritual practice. See? Therefore, whenever we are disturbed, focus attention on this principle as to who is disturbed. Instantaneously we come to know it is the conditioned entity which is disturbed. See, friends, it is something like, when you hold on to some object and then try to use that hand for writing, your hold on that object will influence your handwriting, is it not? Exactly the same way. When we get identified with the body, that identification will influence our thinking. When we get identified with the disturbances in the mind, then the identification with the disturbed mind will give you disturbed experiences, can never give you peaceful experience. So what should be the sadhana now? Only one. Disidentify. That is all. How do we disidentify? Play the role that we have to play in life. We can't be 24/7 husband, we can't be 24/7 wife, we can't be 24/7 brother, father, mother. No, we have to play different roles. So play all the roles and yet maintain your identity with the Absolute. That is all spiritual practice. Therefore, what is the dream? Dream is when we interact intensely in the waking, leads to dense and deep impressions on the mind, and therefore these impressions become the object of knowledge, and that experience is called as the dream. See, I'll give you an example. This happened in UK. I was staying with some British family. If you want to see an ideal, beautiful house, you go to any British man's house. You can never see a better house in the whole world than a British house. Beautiful. British and the Germans, they also got very good house. So when I went, I was in the bedroom, and that Amma kept some books for reading, and a thermos of water, and the lamp was backside. So I was reading. After reading for some time, I went to sleep. So I put down the book and searching for the switch. Now I could not see where is the switch. So I had to get up and look. And when I looked, the bright light as if entered my eyes. It was so bright. So I could locate the switch off, and then I wanted to sleep. When I closed my eyes, that bright light which has entered, which has made a deep impression on the mind, that bright light was seen. Then I opened my eyes. Then the street lights were seen. Then I closed my eyes. Again the bright light was seen. When I continued it for some time, Eureka, discovered. It is the same principle which is illuminating the experiences gathered through the sense organs. It is the same experiencer or the illuminator which is illuminating the impressions on the mind without getting identified with both of them. That is our identity. Where is the place for mother, father, husband, brother, sister? And these are the fellows who will trouble us. Come to cognize this. Okay. Another example, stand before the mirror. Next to the mirror, keep your own photograph. When you are standing before the mirror, it is like the waking experience. And when you are looking at your own photograph, it is like a dream experience. If you go away from the mirror, you cannot see your reflection. But whether the mirror is there or not, you will see your photograph. Photograph is like an impression. The mirror reflection is created afresh. And both these experiences are illumined by the one who is neither in the mirror as a reflection nor as a picture on the photo frame. That is our essential nature. Recognize this. See, friends, spiritual life is this. And when we become more and more aware about this principle, the quality of our life, the fragrance of our life is distinct. Sarvani bhutani enam samvanchanti. Upanishad says, everybody wants him. See? It is like, the magnetic karishma. See, friends. So this is the Swapnavastha and Sukshma Sharira Vimani Atma Taijasa Uchate. So the self identified with the subtle body is called as the Taijasa or the dreamer. Now the third one. Atha Sushupti Avastha ka. Now what is the Sushupti Avastha, the deep sleep state? Aham kimapi na janami sukhena maya nidra anubhujate iti sushupti avastha karana sharira vimani atma prajna iti uchyate. Now what is the deep sleep state? Aham kimapi na janami. I know nothing. This is the common experience of everyone. Do you know why common experience of everyone? Because in the deep sleep there is only one. There is no other. See, before yesterday or somewhere I was talking, when you are in a forest, night time, now you want to sleep, you have fixed your tent perfectly all right, and now you are afraid, I hope no tiger comes, no bhalu comes, and you want to sleep, but fear is there, and ultimately you get tired of fear and finally sleep and start snoring, and the tiger comes, becomes afraid and runs away. Because for you there is no other, but for the tiger there is you, and he is afraid. Deep sleep experience of all of us is only one. Our waking experiences are different. Our dream experiences are different. But our deep sleep experience is one. Like waves are different, tsunamis are different, but the ocean is one. So, what is the deep sleep experience? Aham kimapi na janami. It is a state of utter ignorance. Neither I know myself, nor I know the world, nor I know God, nor I know nothing. Aham kimapi na janami. Then, sukhena maya nidra anubhujate. And I experience bliss. There is no other. Because there is no other, there is nobody. So that experience where there is no other and nobody is equal to bliss. See? And whenever we are disturbed or miserable, we are somebody, and because of someone we are miserable. So in the deep sleep, the otherness has disappeared, the body has disappeared, and net result is sukhena maya nidra anubhujate. If you want to continue to be happy, extend your sleep in the waking. Extension of deep sleep in the waking is called as samadhi. Wherein the nobody status is maintained. And when nobody status is maintained, then who is miserable? On one t-shirt I have read a very beautiful quote. Nobody is happy. On the back said, I am Mr. Nobody. It's very true. Mr. Nobody alone is happy. Somebody is always miserable. So, Karana Sharira Vimani Atma Pragya Iti Uchate. And the deep sleeper is the one, the self identified with the causal body is called as Pragya or the deep sleeper. Pragya means the one who is utterly ignorant. Prakarshend Agya. Agya means doesn't know completely. This is what is called as the Sushupti Avastha. Then it was said, Panchakoshatita San. We are studying what the Atma is. So, next definition was Panchakoshatita San. Then the question comes, Panchakosha ke, which are the Panchakoshas? So, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamayascha iti. So, these are the Panchakoshas. The Annamaya, the made out of the food, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. Now, in these, before we go further, two words require spatial understanding. Maya is a pratyay which is added to any word in Sanskrit grammar which indicates modification. Annamaya, modification of food is called as Annamaya kosha. Then Pranamaya, modification of the air is called as Pranamaya. Then Manomaya, modification of the knowledge is called as Manomaya. Vijnanamaya, modification of the ownership is called as Vijnanamaya. And Anandamaya, modification of bliss is called as Anandamaya. So all these Panchakoshas are only the modifications. And therefore, Panchakosha Atitaha San, the self is supporting all these modifications, but is not influenced by any one of them. This is the ultimate understanding. So, what is the Annamaya Kosha? So, Anna Raseneva Bhutva, Anna Raseneva Vriddhim Prapya, Anna Rupa Prathivyam Yad Viliyate Tat Annamaya Kosha Sthula Shariram. So, what is Annamaya Kosha? The one which is Anna Rasena Eva Bhutva. The parents eat the food, the essence of the food is converted into the seeds, and the seeds come together in the womb, and a zygote is born. Therefore, children are called as kids because they start from the zygote. And then, first of all, the zygote starts sucking the blood of the mother, which is nothing but the modification of the food. After he comes out, he starts consuming the food, and when the body dies, it becomes food for others. Thus, the gross body is nothing but the modification of food. In Bhagavad Mahabharata, one very beautiful thought comes. When we keep the cooked food in normal room temperature, not in deep freeze, ultimately to be taken out and put into microwave, that Pindadhanam I am not talking. The normal condition, if you keep the food after cooking for 5-6 hours, it starts rotting. Out of that food, the body is made. How can this body ever remain young and beautiful? Therefore, what was said? Asti jayate vardate viparinamate. Aging has to happen. And apakshiyate, one day it dies away. So, Anna rasena eva bhutva, Anna rasena vriddhim prapya. Only by the essence of food only it grows, first vertically, then horizontally. Then Anna rupa prithvyam yad viliyate. Now ultimately when it dies, it goes back to the earth, which is nothing but of the nature of food. This is what is called as Annamaya Kosha, and this Sthula Shariram, the gross body, is called as Annamaya Kosha. Kosha means what? The second word, Maya, I explained you, the Kosha. Kosha is a sheath. It is something like, a sword is kept in the sheath of the sword. But the blade of the sword never touches the sheath. In the same manner, Annamaya Kosha, the gross body, never touches the embodied. Pranamaya Kosha never touches the embodied. Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. But the existence of the sheath is because of the sword. If the sword is not, sheath has no value. Exactly the same way, the Panchakoshas are meaningful only because of the embodied. And the embodied remains untouched by these Panchakoshas. And if we recognize this principle, then we will never get influenced by the modifications of the Panchakoshas. See? So when the body has problems, yes, the body has problems. Body is meant to be problematic. See? When Mahatma was told that the other person is, condemning you. So the Mahatma said, if he is condemning me as a body, I do the same thing. So there is nothing wrong. Atyanta malino dehaha, dehi chatyanta nirmalaha, asangohamiti jnatva shauchametat prachakshate. Therefore, if somebody is condemning me as a body, I also condemn myself as a body. If somebody is condemning me as a pure self, his self and myself are not separate. Therefore, he has got every right to condemn himself. This is what is called as creative thinking. Otherwise, somebody calls us fool and we become angry. Don't become angry. See, it is better to be silent and declared as fools than to confirm by opening our mouth. Isn't it? Silence is always better. Keep quiet. So, this is the meaning of kosha, the sheath. Pranamayaha kaha. Now what is the pranamaya kosha? Pranadya panchavayavaha vagadi indriya panchakam pranamaya kosha. Pranamaya kosha is the 5 organs of action plus the pancha pranas. So pancha pranas, they become like a powerhouse. And 5 organs of action, they become like the gadgets attached to that powerhouse. These two together is called as the pancha, the pranamaya kosha. Thereafter comes the manomaya kosha. Manomaya kosha is what? Manascha jnanendriya panchakam militva yo bhavati sa manomaya kosha. Mind plus 5 organs of action put together is called as the manomaya kosha. So mind is the totality and sense organs are nothing but the mind expressing through the 5 gadgets. In the same manner, pranamaya kosha is nothing but the pranas expressing through the 5 organs of action. Thus totality is the prana and the individuality is the individual organ of action. Totality is the mind and the 5 jnanendriyas are the individualities of the mind because of the conditioning of the pancha jnanendriyas. In this manner, this is called as the manomaya kosha. Then, what is the vijnanamaya kosha? The same way, buddhi jnanendriya panchakam militva yo bhavati sa vijnanamaya kosha. So, like the intellect plus the 5 jnanendriyas put together is called as the vijnanamaya kosha. And ultimately comes the anandamaya kosha kaha. So anandamaya kosha is karana sharira bhuta avidyastha malina sattvam. So anandamaya kosha is nothing but the causal body and it is malina sattva. There our antakarana is utterly dull-witted. There is no knowledge either about the self or about the others, but there is only a vague experience. Therefore, Marina Sattva and Priyadi Vritti Sahitam. we go through the different degrees of happiness in the Anandamaya Kosha. They are Priya, Moda and Pramoda. But the bliss is that where there are no degrees. It's absolute bliss. No degree or no stages of happiness. For example, when you like something and the topic is being discussed, that experience of happiness is called Priya. Suppose you like Rasagulla and they are talking about Rasagulla, so you can take interest. कहाँ से आया, कहाँ मिलता है? Then the Rasagulla comes in front of you in your plate. So Priya became Moda. Okay, यहाँ गया. But now 15th chapter, Urdham Ulamada Shakam Ashwatam Pavurem Chanam Sisa Pranam. When it will end and enter my stomach, and ultimately it is lifted and landing on the tongue, then pramoda, aha. See? So the happiness is graded happiness. And these are the different modifications of bliss. This Anandamaya Kosha is not the absolute bliss. Because Ekadeshiya, it is limited in a particular condition. If those conditions are not fulfilled, Anandamaya Kosha cannot manifest. Therefore, Etat Kosha Panchakam. So these are the Pancha Koshas. And therefore, now try to understand these three bodies and Pancha Koshas. You know, God has given us these 5 fingers only for this purpose. Small finger is Annamaya Kosha. The ring finger is Pranamaya Kosha. Because it is here only after marriage you people put a ring. And then from there onwards, your prana start, frustrating. The ring is Pranamaya Kosha. Then the middle finger is the Manomaya Kosha, the biggest, longest one. Then Vijnanamaya Kosha is the index finger. And Anandamaya Kosha is the thumb. Now out of these 5 fingers, these 3, Annamaya Kosha is the Ayatanam, where we live. Pranamaya Kosha is the powerhouse. Manomaya Kosha is the means of communication. And whose Ayatanam, whose house? My house. Vijnanamaya Kosha. Then whose power? My power. Pranamaya Kosha. Then whose joy and sorrows? My joy and sorrows. So Vijnanamaya Kosha is the place where I manifest. And therefore, it is called Tarjani. Tarjani means threatening. When we threaten somebody, we don't threaten with a small finger. Tang do. We use this finger. Because it is I. And when we want to tell about ourselves, we don't say, I wanted to tell you. This finger is used and pointed at the sternum. It is here the I manifests. So this is the Vijnanamaya Kosha. So when the Vijnanamaya Kosha is with these 3, it is samsara. When the Vijnanamaya Kosha is able to separate from the 3 and surrender to the Anandamaya. This is called a Jnana Mudra. Jnana Mudra doesn't mean it is a snuff mudra. It is not snuff mudra. It is when the I no more identified with the 3 koshas but goes back to the source. This is in short Jnana Mudra. So all the spiritual practice is indicated with this one simple symbol, mudra. Separate from the Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, and don't go to sleep. Therefore, discover what is the source of bliss. And then you come to know that we are the source of all the world. like the water is never afraid of drowning in the ocean. The ocean is never afraid of tsunamis or terrible waves. In the same manner, the world is no more a problem for such a master who is living in this absolute. So this knowledge is meant for this. And if this knowledge becomes firm, thereafter we play the game of life without fixing. There is no gambling. Presently, our life is a gambling. Try karte. Let us go. If this way I do, I will be happy. And guaranteed failure. Therefore, etak kosha panchakam. Now, after having told these pancha koshas, now let us try to understand the Annamaya kosha is the gross body and Anandamaya kosha is the causal body. Then, what is the subtle body? Subtle body is an amalgam of the Pranamaya kosha, Manomaya kosha and the Vijnanamaya kosha. All the experiences happen in the mind for the Vijnanamaya kosha. If the mind is at peace, Vijnanamaya kosha is at peace. And when that Vijnanamaya kosha is peace, in that peaceful disposition, the divinity expresses. If the Vijnanamaya kosha is identified with the mind, which is extremely disturbed, frustrated, angry, then all the miseries of the samsara follow us. So, Annamaya kosha and the gross body are identical. Anandamaya kosha and the causal body are identical, and these three factors put together is called the subtle body. And all the spiritual practice is working on the subtle body. We work by the mind. Don't work by the mind. Work on the mind. See? And when we work on the mind, our attention will be, our peace of mind is more valuable than anything in this world. A person who is at peace with himself, he alone is at peace with the whole world. A person who is at war with himself cannot be at peace with the world. See, friends, it is for this purpose this information is given. See? After having given this information, now why we were told these pancha koshas and the three bodies? To discard them, not to hold on to them. See? So, madiyam shariram, madiya pranaha, madiyam manascha, madiya buddhi, madiyam ajnanam iti svenaiva jnayate tad yatha madiyatvena jnatam kataka kundala gruhadikam swasmat bhinnam तथा पंचकोशादिकं स्वस्मात् भिन्नं मदीयत्वेन ज्ञातम् आत्मा न भवति. Like whatever we know, recognize as mine is not me. See? When I say this is my camera, so I am not the camera. When I say this is my mic, I am not the mic. When I say this is my dog, I am not the dog. In the same manner, don't we know our body as my body? Don't we know my prana, my intellect, my mind, my ignorance? So all the pancha koshas are recognized by us as mine. How it can be me? It is here the subtle point comes. See, all that is known as mine cannot be me. Don't we know our body as mine? Yes. How it can be? Yes, I am that. No logic, no reason. The more we reflect on this point, that the body is neither created by us, nor the body listens to us. And yet, we hold on to this wrong notion that I am the body, and from there onward, all the sins begin. See, in Sanat Sujatiya, one shloka comes. Sanat Kumar ji is Dhritarashtra. There he says, Anyatha santam atmanam anyatha pratipadyate kim tena na krutam papam chorena atma apaharina. We are essentially divine, but we take ourselves to be body. So what we have done? We have stolen the body. This body is not ours. It is not created by us. And yet we hold on. This body I am. So we are the real dacoits number one. When something is stolen without the knowledge of the owner, it is called as a theft. When something is stolen with a gunpoint, it is called as a dacoity. We are all belonging to that category. The body was never ours, body will never be ours. And yet, our whole life is lived on this erroneous foundation that we are the body. Unless this original sin is corrected, we are far away from the spiritual truth. See, friends, therefore, here they said, whatever is recognized, madhiyatvena jnatam, when it cannot be me, in the same manner, all these panchakoshas are known as mine, tatha panchakoshadikam swasmat bhinnam is other than the self. Madhiyatvena jnatam, known as mine, atma na bhavati, it cannot be me. See, friends, the moment this clicks, all the spiritual practices, it has to click one day, that's it. Like, swimming. The other day, somebody was, teaching swimming. I was watching. Swamiji, do you know swimming? I said, yes. You have to swim? I said, no. I am happy watching the people. How many days it took for you to swim? I said, a wrong question cannot be answered. You cannot tell how many days it takes to learn swimming. Some people spend a month together and yet they go on drinking the water. And some people, they jump. In 2 minutes they learn swimming. Because swimming is a knack. Like many people go for satsanga professionally. No change. And a great master like Nisargadatta Maharaj goes once. In one go, is completely metamorphosed. See, because it is a knack. It is not a mechanical learning. See, one of my friends, he is not qualified as a computer engineer, but genius. He is just an ordinary commerce graduate, and he was running an institution, computer institution, somewhere in Bihar. And when I came to know about him, there was one software which that, SAIL, Steel Authority of India, they wanted to install in their system. So the American came with all hi-fi, huge fees, and struggling to install, but it could not be done. 3 days he spent. It was very important, huge money was spent. So one of the, let us call our local fellow, he is good. So when you fail everywhere, you go to Ayurveda. So he came. He said, look here, you all go. Give me total freedom. Don't meddle with me when I am doing. He discarded everybody, closed the room and started. That American software engineer, what he could not do in 3 days, this fellow fixed in 3 hours and started from there. When I was told about him, and a very simple boy, that time he was hardly 23, 22 like that. Then I came to know. Then I told him, I said, hey, you come with me. What are you not in this place? Where are you? I said, you don't worry, you come. Are you ready? He said, make your passport, everything was done. I took him to Germany and fixed him with one software company. After staying there for 3 years, now he is in USA. And so genius. Degree-wise, he doesn't have a degree. But ability-wise, he outwits so-called the gold medalist. Because he has learned the knack. Spiritual life is a knack. It is not a mechanical thing. And this knack can happen only if we are relaxed. If you are very tense, and with the tensions you try to learn swimming, then Atma. You can never learn. Relax, relax. Many times, spirituality is taken as if you are going to be hanged after 10 minutes. Spiritual life is a great joy. There is no tension. There are no worries. There is no achievement. There is no failure. Because you don't get anything. On the contrary, you lose everything. See, friends. Therefore, all that is known as mind cannot be me. So, Maniyatvena Jnatam Atma na bhavati. Naturally, the student gets dismissed. Atma tarri kaha? Then what is the Atma? You are not telling. What Atma is not, you are telling. Please tell me what is Atma. So the teacher says, Satchidananda Swarupa. Atma is Satchidananda Swarupa. Now up to here, the teacher has told what the self is not. And if we see our life, we have been holding on to this as the self. So unless this error is corrected, we complain, oh, I don't know why there is no more acceptance of data by the computer, because your hard disk is full. Delete unwanted things. You know, there are many temporary files which are generated. A time comes when temporary files are more than the permanent data. So you have to delete them now and then in the same manner. When we are living in this world, we create many unwanted temporary files, keep on deleting them again and again. See? In the same manner. It is enough. Yes, we have to live our life, we have to do our job, we have to finish everything is required. But that is not all. Life is much more than that. Therefore, what we are not, that we were told to discard it, not to tell others. Suppose somebody has got a headache, you know. Oh, I got too much headache. Don't worry, you are not headache. Give him medicine. This is meant for us. See, otherwise we become a point of ridicule by the world. Oh, Vedanti has come. So, Atma Tarri Kaha, now the affirmative explanation about the self. Atma Tarri Kaha, what is Atma? Satchidananda Swarupaha. Atma is Satchidananda. Oh God, you are bringing new terms. What is Sat, what is Chit, what is Ananda? Now the teacher says, Sat Kim, what is the Sat? Kalatrayepi Tishtati iti Sat. Now be very attentive. You know, in one of the texts written by Satta Ganeshwar, Amrita Anubhav, there he has spoken of Satchidananda in a totally different perspective. Totally different. First of all, he glorifies these words, Satchidananda. Ultimately, he ridicules them and tells Satchidananda is meant for denying the absence, the truth is called as Sat. For denying the inertness, the truth is called as Chit. For denying the misery, the truth is called as Ananda. But in fact, the truth is beyond the existence and non-existence, beyond the Jada and the Chetan, inert and the sentient. The truth is beyond the joy and the sorrows. For this purpose, the truth is referred as Satchidananda. So first, what is Sat? The Sat is Kalatrayepi Tishtati iti Sat. That which is uninfluenced by the three periods of time. See? Now in this statement, you know what is the error? The error is as if time is the reality, and in that real time where there is past, present and future, this past, present and future does not influence the self. So we have done one error. First, we have accepted time as the reality. See, if you go deeper, time is nothing but projection by the mind when sequence is established. Morning, event number 1. Noon, event number 2. Evening, event number 3. Night, event number 4. Sequence is established. After the sequence is established, time is born. And when there is no sequence, no time exists. So whether there is a sequence established or not established, the self continues to be. That is the meaning, that the self is beyond the conceptual experience of past, present and future. And that is why one of the most important spiritual practices is remain in the utter present. When we start practicing this, remaining in the utter present, we don't bring our past and we don't worry about the future. When there is no past, there is no future. And when there is no past and future, there is no present. When there is no present, there is presence. This presence is Kalatrayepi Tishtati. The past, present and future, these tenses come and go. These are only projections by the mind. This is the meaning of Sat. And this cannot be experienced objectively. It cannot be understood. Like we can understand to some extent 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour, 10 hours, 1 day, 15 days, 1 year, 10 years, 100 years. As the time scale goes on increasing, we can't even imagine and understand 10,000 years, 1 million years, 230 trillion years before the earth was formed. What has gone in it? See, thus Atma is Sat, meaning that which has no impact of time. The past, present and future, these are only imaginations and projections by the mind. So Kalatrayepi Tishtati iti Sat. That which is immune to the modification of time. Time alone creates the changes. Cause, effect are only nothing but the different expressions of time. Kalatrayepi Tishtati therefore means that it is beyond cause and effect. Now Chit came, what is the conscious, what is the Chit? Chit is Jnana Swarupaha. See, there are 2 types of knowledges. One type of knowledge is that knowledge where there is the option of is and is not. See, now what is, now it is the evening. That means it is not noon. After some time, it will not be evening, it will be night. So everything in this world is recognized always in a complementary opposite. Birth, death, present, absent, health, disease, rich, poor. But that which does not have any option, how come? Do we have experience of our absence? No. If there is no experience of absence, is it necessary to call present? See, when waker is, dreamer is not. When dreamer is, waker is not. But this option of present or absent, is or is not, does not hold good for this absolute self. Therefore, the knowledge, Chit is that knowledge, that consciousness where there is no division of knower and the known. Now find out what is this experience, where there is no division of knower and known. So suppose somebody asks you by your name, like it happens a number of times. Sometimes when I go here and there, they ask me, do you know Swami Anubhavananda? He looks like you, he comes on TV. So what reply do I give? So I say yes, no. Yes, why? Because I know. No, why? Because I don't know as you know him objectively. So this falls beyond the purview of any language. It cannot be said yes, it cannot be said no. Therefore, consciousness is that which does not demand any means of knowledge to establish its presence. So, Jnana Swarupa, it is not the knowledge of, it is knowledge itself. Knowledge of chemistry, knowledge of mathematics, knowledge of cooking, knowledge of bluffing. It is knowledge itself, because of which all other knowledges are possible. Then comes the third, Anandaha Kaha. What is the Ananda? Sukha Swarupaha. Sukha Swarupa means what? Kha in Sanskrit means space. Su means Sushtu. That means when there are no disturbances of any kind, when there is no division of experiencer and experienced, that undivided, unbroken, beginningless, modificationless, endless, homogeneous experience is called as Sukha. It is not dependent on anything. It is not created. See, sounds are created, silence is not created. Waking, dream, deep sleep, samadhi, they are created, but the self is not created. This uncreated presence, independent of everything, is called as Ananda. And we get the glimpses of this Ananda in the deep sleep. Because in deep sleep, there is nobody, there is nothing, yet there is a bliss. But this deep sleep experience is a reflection of the bliss. This is not the original bliss. Because the moment the deep sleep is over, again we come back to square one. So this experience of deep sleep is conditioned experience. It is not absolute experience. The bliss is the one. We are in that experience in spite of all the experiences, good and bad. This is Anandaha Sukha Swarupaha. Evam Satchidananda Swarupam Swatmanam Vijaniyat. Thus, come to recognize yourself to be of the nature of Satchidananda. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.